Do you guys ever have those moments where you look and see what you think, hey, hang on a minute, that's the future? Is things are changing and this is what the future is going to look like. That's what I see here with these new gas stations that, well, they're not gas stations. They look like them, but they're actually electric car stations. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. Great to have you with us. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe below. We normally do about 6 or 7 videos per day. General Motors, they are building gas stations all over America, DC fast chargers. They are installing 350 kilowatt charging stations along the busiest travel corridors in the US. They look very similar to a gas station. There's got to be so many people pulling into these stations. They're not going to know. They're going to think, oh, this is a gas station. They're going to pull up and go, ah, this is the future. I guess I'm not part of the future. I better keep driving and try and find a gas station. Gas stations will start to close en masse across the United States. It's been happening in China. Have a look at China. Look how many DC fast chargers they're installing in China. And then you have a look at how many gas stations are closing down as a result. It's the only logical conclusion here. And as there becomes less and less gas stations, people who own, this is going to be still a while yet, but people who own internal combustion engine cars, they're going to start to get panicking. They're going to start to panic because you can't fill up your internal combustion car at home. It's going to be like the situation in California for people who own hydrogen-powered vehicles, because really in 10 or 15 years from now, when almost every car that's sold in America and 100% of the cars sold in Europe and China and probably most parts of the world, when they're all EVs, these gas stations will close really fast, or they'll have to change to having EV plugs. And then it's going to be quite expensive to ship this fuel around, this gasoline and diesel around, because the demand won't be high enough to actually basically make this economy, the situation of having these isolated gas stations in isolated locations. It'll be quite expensive to maintain those locations. General Motors, EVgo, and Pilot Company are expanding the fast charging network in the US with, well, kind of a cool twist. The companies have installed chargers at more than 130 locations in over 25 states, focusing on high volume traffic routes using a gas station layout. The three companies' collaboration aims to install 2,000 DC fast charging stalls at 500 Pilot and Flying J locations. So there's going to be at least 500 of these gas stations. Well, they look like a gas station. And I think it'd be quite funny to film people rocking up to these and going, oh, okay, this is not a gas station. This team up was actually apparently announced in 2022. And 1 year later, there were 17 locations online. Well, now, as you can see, there's a lot more. How fast can they charge? Well, 350 kilowatt charging speed. Of course, most cars, not all, but most cars can't charge at that speed. There's many models of car in China that can charge faster than that. In fact, much faster. BYD's new cars can charge, well, a couple of new models can charge at 1,000 kilowatt. There's going to be, probably by 2030, I think that approximately, I would say around 40% of cars sold in China will be capable of charging at 500 kilowatt plus. So 350 kilowatts is good. It's good for America, not so good for China, but it still means you can charge your car in around 20 minutes. So 20 minutes of charging with a 350 kilowatt charger would enable you to probably put in about a 70 to 80% charge, which is really all you would need to get to your next destination. The chargers can be found on major highways between I-75 in Michigan and Georgia, and regional routes like Minneapolis to Milwaukee, Detroit to Cleveland, San Antonio to Houston, Dallas to Nashville. The three companies say the charging stations offer premium amenities that probably don't exist at other locations. There's a lounge. You can go chill out in the lounge. There's free Wi-Fi, modernized restrooms, restaurants, other food and beverage options. These places, they kind of feel like a club, like an exclusive club that you don't have to pay anything to be a part of. Like, why would you want to go to a gas station? If you're doing a road trip, right? You go to a gas station, you got to put up with crap food. There's never any couches to sit on. And if there is, it's like a nasty looking sticky couch and it's a gross place. It sounds to me like this is where you want to be. If you're going on a road trip, you want to go to one of these. Here's what they said. By expanding fast charging access along major travel routes, our work with Pilot and EVgo is giving EV drivers more confidence to take long trips. More than 130 locations now open. We're going to ensure that we get to have seamless charging, a luxury experience, and drivers can focus on the adventure ahead. This is the future of EV fast charging, and I'm all here for it. I mean, 350 kilowatt, it's not amazing, but it's good. And more DC fast chargers in America is going to give more people confidence to buy their first electric car, or maybe even their second electric car as well. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Nissan CEO has run the company into the ground. This is what happens when you have a CEO who cares more about himself and his own personal public image than he does about his business succeeding. Honda demanded that Nissan CEO got fired. They said there would be no so-called merger or no acquisition of Nissan, no bailout, unless Nissan CEO was put to pasture. And reportedly, the CEO will leave within the next 7 days. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Great to have you with us. Nissan's CEO has confirmed that unless somebody bails them out, the company will not be able to pay its bills. Its debt is rated at junk now by all four global ratings agencies, and the company is really on the precipice of complete and utter disaster, unless, as reports have claimed, Tesla bails them out. Now, I think that's highly unlikely. Nikkei Business reports that Ukita-san, who has headed Nissan since December 2019, will soon announce his resignation, with the carmaker's relevant executives to select and announce a successor as early as next week. We are approaching a time when personnel, including the top management, will undergo major changes, a Nissan insider has told the publication. Current global Nissan CFO, Jeremy Papin, has reportedly been shortlisted for the role as interim CEO. Ukita-san's reported impending resignation comes less than a month after a proposed merger with Honda and potentially existing partner Mitsubishi fell through. Now, I should point out that Mitsubishi, who actually use some of Nissan's platforms for their cars, are getting rid of those platforms. They are severing all ties with Nissan. Essentially, they're seeing Nissan as being the Titanic, the ship's going down, and Nissan saying, we don't want to be tethered to the Titanic. Let's basically get rid of that kind of collaboration, you could call it. Now, apparently, the merger or the acquisition of Nissan by Honda might be back on the table. According to Nikkei Business, the insider has said, we don't know if it will be a wholly owned subsidiary, but the talks will probably proceed in the direction of accepting Honda's investment. For Nissan to accept Honda's investment, Nissan will become a subsidiary of Honda. Honda will be in charge of Nissan, and the board will be predominantly Honda executives. As previously reported, the merger was called off after Nissan stood firm in not wanting to become a subsidiary of Honda and instead demanded to be treated as an equal, which is preposterous considering the fact that they can't stand by themselves. They need Honda to prop them up. Nissan insiders told Japanese newspaper Yomiuri Shimbun that thought of not being given equal footing by Honda was an insane decision, effectively leading to the collapse of the merger. It was like Nissan couldn't handle that. It's shame. It's like Nissan felt like it needed to save face, but now it's recognizing the fact that, well, it's better to become a subsidiary of Honda than to go bankrupt.